Hey, everybody. This is JW Collier from Sober Militia. We're talking with Bobby C today, and we're going to be going over some of the core beliefs I've been writing about and how they apply to addiction and sobriety. And we will share some differing views on this coming from two people who have very different experiences. So myself, I'm just under 5 months, and Bobby here is, I think, over 36 years. So hopefully they'll offer some differing kind of opinions. So Bobby, do you want to introduce yourself?
Bobby C here. I'll be the host, a co-host, I'm sorry, co-host of Sober Militia, which is going to air on YouTube probably in about a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And I kind of just say that I'm a friend in recovery and beyond. You know, I consider my friend self a friend to anybody that needs some help. And John mentions mentorship, and I like that. And I like the word friend. So if anybody ever needs to talk to John or I, you're welcome to do that. Email us or text us or watch us on Twitter, DM us on Twitter, and we'll answer some questions. And, you know, we're not perfect. We're just getting this thing down just like everybody else. So I just want to let everyone know I consider time just past experience, good and bad. And I believe we all have the same time, and that's right now. So I don't consider myself on any high pedestal. Please don't place me on one, because I'll be able to fall much further. So let's keep that in mind. I'll pass it back to you, John.
All right, cool. So the last time we spoke, we were talking about some joys of sobriety. So we went through some of the ideas like that too, and then we also talked about how programs fit into sobriety and whether or not we think it's a disease and all that. But lately I've moved and kind of switched gears and went towards some core beliefs. And that's something that really got me through my beginning stages of sobriety. And I learned that through therapy, where I learned how to kind of look at a certain situation, and the way how I was viewing it was affecting, my reactions. And if we're able to shift that perception, then we might be able to actually feel differently about that thing. And so obviously in sobriety, this is a big deal. And so I just started doing a series of core beliefs. And the first one I did was called I Am Powerless. And I'm writing this in a way that is stating the core belief as it is now, before I shift it. And what does that look like? And for me, being powerless is a word I hear quite a bit since I've been in this community, and it definitely exists in some of the programs, which, I understand where it's coming from and why they're using it. But for me, I struggled with it because I feel like it can have a damaging connotation, because I feel like everything is very individual in our sobriety and our recovery, and to me, I would rather feel like I do have some power, that I am powerful. That's what I wrote about in that blog was, I want to shift that mindset from thinking I'm powerless to the fact that I am powerful, and that I can, gain some control over my addictions. And I know that that's there's a lot of different opinions on that, but for me, I felt like to say I'm powerless is kind of an excuse a little bit to fail. Right. And so if I fail, I can say, well, I failed because I was powerless. I don't have any control over it. And I feel like there's a much stronger power coming from the idea of thinking that I do have some power, and I can control some of these things. And so that's where I was coming from when I wrote that blog. Bobby, what is your thoughts on the powerless idea?
Well, today I am recovered. I'm not addicted to alcohol today, because I don't put it in my mouth. I'm powerless. This is only for me, what I believe today. And I believe for me in abstinence. Now, that's not to say people cannot moderate. They could do it a different way. They could use different models. But for me today, even if I could drink, if there was a pill or if there was something that I could drink, I wouldn't do it, because I choose not to, because it's expensive. I still can get DUIs. I still can have domestic issues. It still affects me physically. I still have hangovers. So I choose abstinence. Now that's just for me. So excuse me for 1 second. I just got to blow my nose here. I don't want people seeing that, because as soon as they see that, oh, I got corona. No. But as far as powerlessness, if for me, if I put a drink in my mouth, then I could possibly become powerless over the alcohol. Okay. But when I don't, I'm completely powerful. I can do whatever I want to do. So I completely don't buy the concept that I'm powerless. I'm powerless over alcohol if I stick it in my mouth, or if I shoot some dope, or if I snort some coke, or do some meth or fentanyl or opiates or whatever. I become drug induced and alcohol induced, and then the power kind of leaves me, kind of takes my spirit over.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's kind of the point of those things, right? And I think that's a lot of the reasons why we do them is that we don't want to have control over something or in our life or in a situation, and so we take those things to kind of get rid of that. We want to give it up, right? So yeah, I think once you are in active using it, then the powerless thing is somewhat true. But what we're talking about more is when we look at sobriety, we're looking at it from the point of view that we are not using. And if we are not using, that's when we do gain control and some power. And then we can make those choices moving forward, whether we want to use or not, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Today I am not powerless, totally.
Absolutely.
Today I do not have, I am not addicted to alcohol today. So I really don't have an addiction to alcohol. I'm not
Right.
addicted to it. So I actually am not addicted to alcohol right now. So I don't have an addiction to alcohol. I have an addiction to many other things, though,
Yeah.
which I'm working on mindfully and taking a look at other things. But yeah, with that powerlessness, I'm with you.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, that's definitely where I was coming from with that. And I think, as we move further into our sobriety and recovery, I think that we will gain more and more power too, right? And that's kind of what I've been experiencing. And I'm the same as you. I'm looking at other aspects of my life now that I don't feel good about, that I may have some, some control issues with, and I'd like to gain some control back. So I don't think we ever fix it all, but we just keep trying, right?
No.
Yeah. So, all right, core belief number 2. I wrote, and remember, this is from the perspective of a person in that core belief at the time, and it is, I am not ready. And when I wrote this, I was referring to that kind of place when we're aware that we have an issue, we're aware that we want to make a change, but we have not yet made that change yet. And the I am not ready part is referring to the fact that, like, I am not ready to give up whatever that addiction is, right? And I wrote that for some people I have been talking to recently, and they had mentioned this kind of an idea. And to me, I just like, it's like any other thing. Are you ready to buy the new house? Are you ready to have a child? Are you ready to buy the car? I mean, most of the time we're never ready for these things. We just have to dive in and do it. And I think a lot of the times we find that that's okay, right? And so I am not ready as far as sobriety. I think that what we have to recognize is, number one, if you are here listening to this podcast, or if you're reading the blogs I'm writing, or if you're in a group on Facebook for sobriety, or you're looking things up online, I'd say that you are, right? You're actively seeking it out. You're looking for it, which means you are ready. You may not feel like you're ready to deal with how it's going to go for you, but you're ready to start taking that first step. In fact, you've already made the step if you're here, right? You've taken that first step. And that to me tells me you're ready. So then it's about, okay, what's the next step, right? Any thoughts on that there, Bob?
Yes, I wrote down something because I listened to, all the core beliefs are on John's Twitter, and I think they're on YouTube too. And you can get them all together. I think if you click on xstopwriting.com, you can get
Yep.
all the core beliefs.
Yeah, all the blogs are listed there, and with podcasts and all that stuff. So
yeah, and the one has all of them together. They're
Yeah.
like in consecutive order, which I read them all.
Yeah.
And, I
Thank you, Bobby.
enjoyed reading them all. And I retweeted them out yesterday. But this ready stuff, there's pre-contemplation, contemplation. There's like stages of change, and where I was for many years was that I didn't want to give up drinking, so I wasn't even contemplating it. It wasn't even a fact because I really thought that giving up drinking, where would I go from drinking? Drinking was the solution to my problems, I
Yeah.
thought, and it made me happy, made me more sociable, gave me some things that I thought that, and they were all short term. They were all short term goals. But I thought that if I gave up drinking, it was going to be boring, And John mentions that. John mentions that in one of his writings about
Yeah.
boring. Who wants to be a teetotaler? I watch these other people, and I really felt sorry for them that they were living this type of life without booze, without alcohol. And tell me that's not an irrational belief.
Yeah.
Talk about core beliefs.
Yeah.
That's that was one of my core beliefs. I thought that I was doing it right and they were doing it wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Until things kept on getting, I kept on getting in trouble with the alcohol. So I was suffering some consequences, and it wasn't through virtue, not any gift that I thought that I was so great and moral that I decided to kind of be ready or let go. It was through circumstances which weren't good. I didn't have these good circumstances. And at the end, I knew shit was going to hit the fan and I was going to be in trouble. And you know what? At that particular time, it was almost like I did a little podcast the other day, and I was when I said yes to help.
Yep.
When I said yes to help, that was the day I was ready.
Yeah.
And I remember the day I said it because the consequences were they were come. It was like a perfect storm. It was all coming on me, And I knew I was about to lose a lot of stuff that was really close to me. I was really scared, and I said yes to help. And it was like I wrote down this, ready, get set, go. Remember
Yeah.
we used to hear that? Ready,
Yeah.
get set, go. Well, that's what I was doing. Ready, get set, go. And
Yeah.
when I said yes, I was ready to get set and go, And then a person came over and helped me. John was going to therapy, if you don't mind me saying that.
Of
You were
course. Yeah.
getting some therapy. And you were ready. You get
Yep.
set, and you went into action,
Yeah.
And this is what came out of that, you being on this podcast. And like John said, if you are listening right now, you're ready.
Yeah.
You're listening. Now. So and if you're not drinking or drugging right this moment, you're not addicted to it right now because you're not drinking.
Right.
Don't put it in your mouth. Don't put it in your body. So right now, everybody's that's listening to, I believe, is ready. Yeah, I agree with that, John.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I think being ready it's another one of those things that, just like the last core belief where it can be a crutch, right? If I say I'm not ready, then I'm going to make sure I'm not ready. Right. And I think just changing that mindset, changing the verbiage, right? Stop saying you're not ready. Just start saying you're ready and watch how that kind of unfolds. And if you believe it, I think you're going to see some changes. So core belief number 3, I will never be happy. And I know that this is something I've heard a lot from a lot of people. And it's that idea that because of things that have happened in their lives, they feel like they don't deserve it maybe, or that it just won't ever happen because of, too much time has gone by, or they've done too many things wrong, or they're so far gone in the addiction that they're not going to be able to find happiness. And, again, it's a core belief. If I say I'm not going to be happy, then I'm going to continue to find ways to support the fact that I'm not happy. And it's easy to do, right? The world's a tough place. But, shifting that core belief and saying instead that I am happy, right? Or I deserve to be happy. is a completely different mindset. And that we can also find the evidence every day, right, to support why that is true and why we can be happy, right? We all have positive things, well, positive people, positive experiences that happen from time to time, and they may not be major at first, but start paying attention to those things that do make you happy, right? And then you'll start seeing more of them. And it's a very similar kind of an idea, right? And I've changed my day-to-day, the way I approach life a little bit, where every morning when I get up, the first thing I try to do as I'm walking downstairs to get coffee is to give thanks to the things that I have in my life, right? That support why I am a happy person now. And I feel like the more I do that, the easier it gets, How do you feel, Bobby? You feel like being happy is a mindset?
Well, definitely. I think some people are more capable of it, doing it better than others, to
Yeah.
tell you the truth. And I kind of have, happiness is defined. It says happiness, a sense of well-being, joy, contentment, blessed, delightful, glad, excited, optimistic, peaceful, thrilled, grateful, ecstatic. There's actually definition. There's feelings and things in happiness.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have maybe a little different take on it. I'm, like, what would I have settled for prior to the trouble that I got in with alcohol? Sobriety. People discount like being sober. Like, they're sober means not drinking, right?
Yeah.
Sober
Yeah.
means I'm not drunk, right?
Yeah.
So people discount even the biggest thing is that I'm not drunk. I'm not drinking.
Right.
That's the biggest reward. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So I don't have to look too far to be happy. But the thing, I gotta just say that happiness can be a little overrated too.
Yeah.
Because if we were always happy all the time, that means something's wrong with us. Because then we wouldn't be authentic, more true to ourselves, because there's all kinds of feelings and emotions that go through us along the day. I mean, my wife could say one thing to me and bam, I'm done. Happiness, that's gone.
Yeah.
I could be standing in a grocery line and this thing called happiness, that's out the window. Somebody cuts me off on the road. There's no happiness there. There's,
Yeah.
anger. Anger was big with me. I think I only knew two, back when I was using, I think I only knew two feelings, was anger and jealousy. I tell you, I really didn't know too many
Yeah.
feelings. But it's a mindset. It's like I said in the other podcast, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. Let's just say, I believe that I'm trying to live a good life.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can to try to live a decent life, and I'm learning along this journey, even at my age. And it's not a chore. I don't make it a chore or like a real effort. It's a passion of mine,
Yeah.
and but the happiness deal, yeah, it's better. Hey, being happy is better than not. But I usually get happy when I'm excited about something. If
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fishing with my buddy or something and we're playing, and you know what, I need more of it. So I
Yeah.
need to seek out more happy things to do to feel good. This feeling good. I need to do more of it today. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it helps all of us. I think we all could be a little bit better about it. And, it's definitely not, thinking as a core belief that we can be happy all the time. That's silly. Right. But I think, when we are dealing with addictions and stuff, we do spend a lot of time in that opposite place, right? Not feeling good about ourselves, not being happy with what we got going on. And Uh, Sorry about that. Do you hear that?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. So we can't always be happy, but I think for those of us who are dealing with some addiction, sometimes we get stuck in that place of the exact opposite, right? And that's not a healthy place to be either, right? And so to me, shifting that core belief that
No,
I am happy or I deserve to be happy, I think is really important, especially the deserve part. I think that was where I got stuck. I didn't feel like I deserved anything really. And so anything that good that came my way, I just figured it was an accident. You know what I mean? Um, but now I'm starting to see all these things as being part of who I am, and what I want in my life. And so I'm able to kind of, like you said, find those things that do make me happy, or just see the things that are already there that make me happy, right? And that's where I was coming from with that core belief is, we all deserve it. You know,
yeah,
our past is our past.
just to touch on that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Positive is better than the negative. Okay,
Yes, for sure.
it's just a, but there is always going to be positive and negative.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
we what we have control, so we're powerful in directing our minds to whatever desire we want. So if you want to be miserable, you can do that. You have
Yeah.
control over that. If I want to be more positive and enjoy more things in life, I have the tools and the ability to do that with this thing they call the mind and the
Right.
consciousness. And there's so many ways of doing it. Affirmation. I mean, affirmations are beautiful. To go
Absolutely.
down reading affirmations over and over again. I am. The statement I am, just I am, is enough.
Yeah.
I am good. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am sober. I feel
Yeah.
great. All these affirmation things, mantras.
Yeah.
Mantras and affirmations. Mindfulness is big. Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right. Core belief number 4. It's too late. I'm too far gone. This is one of my favorites because it's one of our probably easiest scapegoats, right? We can just be like, I've been doing this so long that I'm never going to get out of it. There's no way. What's the bother? Why even try? That kind of thing. And I do hear people saying this quite often. And for me as a 49-year-old man, I quit when I was 48. Um, that's, I could have easily taken that road, and one of the ways I could have supported that was by saying, look, I'm old enough now where anything I do to my body isn't going to really matter, and I could have taken that road. And I hear people do that all the time. But it's silly. I mean, it's crazy to think that way, because whether you have, 20 good years of your life left or, 40, when you make this decision to go this direction, and the health benefits and the mind benefits and emotional benefits and all the things that come with being sober, it doesn't matter how old you are when you do it, right? So going into my life now as a 49-year-old man that's sober and experiencing the benefits I'm seeing, it's amazing. I couldn't be happier right now with the way I'm looking at the world and the things I'm doing and the goals I'm setting and achieving, and people I'm meeting like you, Bobby, and the whole community that's out there of people who are sober, and kind of everybody's seeing the same thing and seeing the same way. It's pretty magical, so shifting that core belief from it's too late, I'm too far gone, to saying that it's never too late. I think that's the best way to look at that core belief, is just, that's what we need to know. It's never too late.
Well, to talk to the listener, I would definitely say that it's never too late, and you're never too far gone.
Yeah.
To the listener, if I can do it, if John can do it,
Yeah.
anyone can do it. Okay, it's really not. I hate to say it, but it's really not hard if you want it.
Yeah, I
If you
agree.
really want it, it's really not that hard. John mentioned something in one of his blogs, that you are an expert in human condition as seen through your eyes and your experience over the past years. Okay, because you
Right.
started drinking. I think you started using about 12 years old,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so did I. So we
Yeah.
have a lot in common with that. And here's the problem that I see that could be, instead of I'm too far gone, people go into meetings for the first time, or they go into treatment, or they go somewhere, and they listen to the other stories, and the other stories, they sound so horrific,
Yeah.
jail, 10 years, lost a car, lost a wife, don't have their kids anymore. They've been in 10 psychiatric hospitals. They've been in 5 jails, 5 treatment centers. The
Yeah.
problem could be is that, oh, I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not too far gone.
Yeah.
So
That's even worse. Yeah.
it could be even worse.
Yeah.
So here's what I always say about they talk about a bottom. There is, there's always another bottom,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And all I got to do is go to the meetings, listen to the other people's bottoms that are way more horrific than mine, and know that that's the crystal ball into my next bottom possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bottom is a perception, right? I mean, it's how we see it. And, I've said in some of the stuff I've written about that, while I didn't have that horrific story like you're talking about, my story affected me enough to know that I still needed to do something about it. Right. So I never lost a job or, over alcohol, or, I was never homeless or anything like that. However, I was living a life that was pretty miserable for me because I was always hungover. I was never, uh, present because I was always worried about drinking and all this other stuff. So my bottom may not be the same as somebody else's, but to me, it was just as bad. Right. And it was the thing that got
Exactly.
me out. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right.
Exactly. We have a lot in common. Let me just say we have a lot in common with that too, because
Yeah.
I spent a couple of days in jail. I didn't lose my even though they did leave a couple times, but the jobs I left, I didn't, get fired. And so we have a lot in common with that
Yeah.
bottom.
Yep. Yep. I think everybody does. And like I said, some are, worse than others, but that's all in how we view them. You know what I mean? So,
Doesn't matter.
yeah. All right. Core belief number 5, I am alone. This is one I hear almost every day because, right now I'm involved in a lot of different aspects of sobriety and different groups. And so I have my website, I have my blog, I have a sober group on Facebook, I have my writing page, and doing stuff like this with Bobby. So I'm kind of getting involved with a lot of different people. And this is one I hear constantly. It's the idea that I am alone. And you know what? I mean, it feels that way. I think the biggest reason for that is, when we are involved in our addictions and going through life like that, we tend to surround ourselves with people who are like-minded, right? So we want to find people who are in that same place. So if I'm wanting to drink all the time, I'm going to be surrounding myself with people who want to drink all the time, right? And it's just what we do. It's a natural pack mentality, and so that, I think over time we develop these core communities of people that we know and live in, that all kind of do and think the same way. So when we make a massive change like this, I'm going to become sober, I'm going to give up my alcohol or whatever addiction I'm on. The moment I do that, we kind of alienate ourselves from that group, from that community that we've spent many years building. And it's really unfortunate, but it's true. And I noticed it immediately, going up to a friend and telling them I quit drinking, and they're just like, what? I think the first thing I heard was, why are you a quitter? That kind of thing. And I just was like, holy cow, man. And so you immediately lose friends by making this decision. And that doesn't feel good. So when I was shifting this, core belief in the blog, what I was saying is that we're not alone. We're part of a very supportive, caring community. You just got to find it. But there does require a little work, right? You have to go out and seek that community, but it is there. And like I just said, online, in your communities and, where you live, blogs, support groups, all kinds of stuff. Everywhere you go, you can't throw a stone without hitting one. And so the community's there. It's a new community, right? So it takes a little work. You got to go out there and interact with that community. But the community is very open-armed, right? People understand you because they've been there, right? They understand that what you might need coming in to the community, and they're there to and willing to help you with it. And that's been my experience from the minute I started writing my blog to starting getting involved with people who are going through sobriety for the first time, as well as people who have been doing it for a very long time. It's all a very similar story. And that is that, we are a part of a very big community that is very supportive. But just got to reach out. We're here. I'm here. Bobby's here. Take a look. ask questions, you'll find your community, and it is not as lonely as it seems when you first walk into it, I promise. How did you feel about that when you first started quitting your addictions and moving into your recovery?
Well, I like I stated before, I had a friend. My wife was going out on. She found a friend, and she asked me. That was the day I said yes to help, and she brought over a friend that came to my door, and his name was Lonnie, and he introduced me to Alcoholics Anonymous, which was the only game in town.
Yeah.
There was no online. This is 36 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a treatment center was. I didn't know anything. All I know is this guy was going to come over and he was going to bring me to. He was going to help me possibly because I said yes to help. So so he came walking in, and I said it on my podcast. And here comes a big bearded guy, construction worker, dope shooting, pharmacy robbing, Jack Daniels, big dude walking into my house. And he sat down at my table, and it was like Jesus Christ walked in there. And even though I'm not religious and I really don't buy it, none of that stuff, but I do believe in a Jesus. I believe we're all Jesus.
Yeah.
And I believe we're all God's, and we're Jesus. But he came and sat at my table, and he asked me, he said, Bobby, how about you want to go to a meeting with me? I got this whole group. And I said, yeah, take me. So I said yes again.
Right.
So this is what I see. Fellowship, there's so much fellowship out there. There's so many places to go. It's unbelievable. For free. I'm talking for free. So again, if it's up to me, if I believe it, if it's up to me, it's meant to be. I have to take the initiative. I have to do the work. I have to seek it. Now, I like to be alone. A lot of times.
Yeah.
I like to walk the beach myself. I like to be alone sometimes. Not sometimes. A lot of times. That doesn't mean, but I choose it. It's a choice. Right. I think being alone is actually a choice. You know what I mean? Unless you really have some mental issues, mental health issues, and I'm not discounting that. Don't even think I am. But most of it is a choice. So I believe that when I don't want to be with people, I'm not. I isolate. And isolation in the beginning isn't good. Okay,
Right.
Because our minds. Instead of being called Alcoholics Anonymous, it should have been called Thinking Anonymous, because it's all about the thinking. The thinking, the mind stream just constantly goes. So by talking, by hearing, by listening, we're getting out of the mind flow, and we're able to just relax and be a little calmer. So yes, in the beginning, you need a home. You need some type of community. Here's the other thing, though. In the beginning, see, they told me to leave my people, places, things, and situations, leave them go that had to do with alcohol. But, looking back in my life today, this is weird. I was just thinking about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am. It's like, okay, we go to people now that we have things in common, that are fun, active, and kind of good for us and positive. In the beginning, I had to leave them. I had to. Okay, that's what I had to do in the beginning for myself. But here's the weird thing: all these friends, they did things. They didn't drink 24 hours a day. They did other things.
Yeah.
So maybe if I would have participated later, after I got my head back in order. It takes a year sometimes, but after I get back my head, maybe I could have connected back with them. And if they went fishing and didn't drink, I could go fishing. If they went skiing and didn't drink, I could went skiing. So I didn't have to, but I didn't know that. But I'm looking back at it today. It's kind of weird, Yeah. And these people that I had, all these people were good people,
Sure. Yeah.
Matter of fact, a weird, quick little story. This one guy, his name was Bob, and his dad was in Alcoholics Anonymous like 36 years ago. He had 20-something years ago, so it was like 56 years ago. And he never stopped drinking. But you know what? At the end, I went to his daughter's wedding, and me and my wife and his ex-wife, and he was there with his buddy, and boy, it was so nice. It was so nice to see him. He was still drinking, but he was polite, and we reminisced,
Yeah.
and you know what? I was so glad I connected with him, because after that he died,
Yeah.
and he was such a good friend back then. But seeing him, I was a different person.
Yeah.
So I could see him in a different light and react to him in a different light. So it takes time, but
Yeah.
I maybe went off one out a little too long, but
That's all right.
pass it
Yeah.
back to you, John.
So it's all part of it. So yeah, I think just from a time perspective, we'll stop with the 5 core beliefs for today, and then next week maybe we can just pick them back up from there. We'll start with number 6 next week and go. But I think it's important to just kind of remember the whole basic idea of the core belief, right? Is where what we're trying to do here with this series of blogs and these video casts is to kind of give people some tools maybe to think about, where if you're feeling something of these things, like something like I am alone. That you may feel that, and to you that feels real, but there are other ways to feel and think, right? And if you can, maybe relate to something we're saying here in terms of how we can shift that thinking into from feeling I am alone to feeling I have a community. If we can do that, it makes things a little easier, right? And there's so many of these things, so we're just going to kind of keep plugging along on them. And Bobby and I talked earlier, and we'd really like to, hear from anybody who's listening to this podcast or reading my blogs, to offer some of the core beliefs that they may have had. In fact, one of the ones I wrote, the one number 6 that'll be the first one next time, is about sobriety being boring. Somebody offered that as a core belief they've struggled with, so I wrote a blog about it. And so if you guys have some thoughts on that, or some ideas we haven't touched base on or covered, leave a comment, let us know, and we'll talk about them on here, and I'll write about it in my blog, and hopefully, together we can kind of figure all these things out. That's kind of our goal here, right, Bobby? Is just to find ways to make this easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like to talk one brief thing about karma, the word karma.
Okay.
If anybody knows really what the word karma is a cause and effect, really. It just means action or thought. And it's viewed as a deciding their fate in future existence, meaning action, work, deeds, spiritual principles of cause and effect. So I believe everything is cause and effect. If I say something nasty, that's a cause, it's going to have an effect on something. If I'm sober, continue my sobriety, it's going to have an effect, and I believe it's going to have a positive effect on everybody. So I'll just leave it with that. Look up karma, people, and check out the cause and effect of our lives,
Yeah, definitely.
We're responsible.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can play that right into the idea of making that first step, right? Because there's a cause involved in that, and there's an effect that's going to happen really quick as soon as you start seeing all these benefits that we keep talking about, So,
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks, Bobby, for coming on. Don't forget, Bobby's on Twitter. You can find him there, and as well as me. And I also have my website at stopwriting.com. You can become a member of the site. We have a forum that we're starting up there that you can get involved in, and you can also subscribe to the blog so you get notifications whenever a new blog's posted. And I will connect a link to you as well, Bobby, since you're starting to do some of these podcasts as well. So I'll put a link up there in my website for Bobby, so you can reach him too. And then next week we'll pick up with core belief number 6. Does that sound all right there, Bobby?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Go ahead.
I'll chat with you after recording.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. This is Bobby C, a friend in recovery and beyond. Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
All right. Until next week. Bye-bye.